The night Daniel Carter carried his 6-year-old son into the emergency room, he didn't know it would change his life in ways he never expected. Ethan's small body was burning with fever, his breathing uneven, his face pale against Daniel's shoulder. Daniel's heart hammered harder than his feet as he rushed through the automatic doors, fear pressing on his chest like a weight he couldn't lift. He had faced many hard nights since becoming a single father, but nothing terrified him more than the thought of losing his child. Daniel had not always been this tired man with shadows under his eyes. Once, he had dreams, a stable family, a home filled with laughter. But life had taken a sharp turn 3 years ago when his wife, Rebecca, passed away after a sudden illness. Overnight, Daniel became both mother and father to Ethan, juggling grief, work, and parenting with no manual to guide him. He learned how to braid shoelaces into knots of patience, how to cook dinners that wouldn't burn, and how to hold himself together when Ethan cried for a mother who would never come back. That night, as a nurse called Ethan's name, Daniel followed her down a long hallway, whispering prayers under his breath. He wasn't a perfect man, but faith was the one thing that kept him standing when everything else felt like it was falling apart. He asked God for strength, for mercy, for just one more chance to see his son smile again. In the examination room, a young doctor entered with calm steps and kind eyes. Her name badge read Dr. Hannah Miller. She greeted Ethan first, kneeling to his level, her voice gentle and warm. Ethan, usually shy around strangers, relaxed almost immediately. Daniel noticed that, and something inside him eased for the first time that night. Dr. Hannah examined Ethan carefully, asking questions, listening closely, explaining everything she did. Daniel answered as best he could, his voice shaking despite his efforts to stay strong. When she finished, she straightened and... At one point, as Ethan slept peacefully, Hannah leaned against the counter and smiled softly at Daniel. Half joking, half serious, she said, "If you weren't married, I'd add my number to your discharge papers." Daniel blinked, caught off guard. Then he laughed, a real laugh he hadn't felt in a long time. He shook his head and gently corrected her. He told her he wasn't married anymore, that he was a widower. The lightness in the room faded instantly, replaced by a quiet respect. Hannah apologized without making it awkward, her expression sincere. What Daniel didn't realize was that Hannah's words lingered in his mind long after that night. Not because of romance, but because someone had seen him. Not just as a tired father or a patient's guardian, but as a man worthy of care and kindness. After Ethan was discharged, life returned to its demanding rhythm. Daniel worked long hours at a small construction company, often bringing home exhaustion instead of energy. Money was tight, and babysitters were expensive. Some nights, he questioned whether he was doing anything right at all. But every morning, Ethan's smile reminded him why he kept going. Weeks later, Daniel ran into Hannah again at a community health event. She recognized him immediately, greeting Ethan like an old friend. This time, the conversation was lighter, easier. They talked about books, about church, about how difficult it was to balance purpose and rest. Hannah shared that she, too, had known loss. Her fiancé had died in a car accident years earlier, pushing her deeper into her work and away from relationships. A quiet friendship formed between them. They met at church events, school fundraisers, and once, accidentally, at a grocery store aisle arguing over cereal brands with Ethan acting as referee. There was no rush, no pressure. Just two broken people learning how to breathe again. But challenges didn't disappear. Daniel struggled with guilt. Part of him felt that caring for another woman meant better.